Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, YouTube. Today we are continuing in our reading in Genesis. We are in Genesis 25. I am, again, reading from the scriptures. And let's jump right in. And Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimran, and Yokshak, and Medan, and Midian, and Yishbag, and Shuah. And Yokshan brought forth Sheba and Dedan, and the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Leumin. And the sons of Midian were Ephah, and Epher, and Hanok, and Abida, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. Now Abraham gave all that he had to Yitzchak, or Isaac. But to the sons of the concubines whom Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts while he was still living, and sent them away from his son Isaac eastward to the land of the east. And these are all the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 175 years. And Abraham breathed his last, and died in a good old age, aged and satisfied, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar, and the Hittite, the field which Abraham purchased from his sons of Heth. There Abraham was buried with Sarah his wife. And it came to be after the death of Abraham that Elohim blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt at Beer-lahai-roi. And this is the genealogy of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar, the Mitzrite, Sarah's female servant, bore to Abraham. And these were the names of the sons of Ishmael by their names according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebaioth, then Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, Hadar, and Tema, Yetur, Naphish, and Kedema. These were the sons of Ishmael, and these were their names, by their towns and their settlements, 12 chiefs according to their tribes. And these were the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he breathed his last, and died, and was gathered to his people. And they dwelt from Hawilah as far as Shur, which is east of Mitzrayim as you go toward Ashur. He settled before all of his brothers, and this is the genealogy of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham brought forth Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Ribkah, or Rebekah, his wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Armenian of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban and Aramean. And Isaac prayed to Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. And Yahweh answered his prayer, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And within her children struggled together, and she said, "If all is right, why am I this way?" So she went to ask Yahweh, and Yahweh said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples shall be separated from your body, and one people shall be stronger than the other, and the other serve the younger. And when the days were filled for her to give birth, and see, twins were in her womb, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, so they called his name Esau. And afterward his brother came out with his hand holding on to Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob, or Jacob. And Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. And the boys grew up, and Esau became a man knowing how to hunt, a man of the field, while Jacob was a complete man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his wild game, but Ribkah loved Jacob. And Jacob cooked a stew, and Esau came in from the field, and he was weary. And Esau said to Jacob, "Please feed me with that same red stew, for I am weary." That is why his name was called Edom. But Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright today." And Esau said, "Look, I am going to die, so why should I have birthright?" Then Jacob said, "Swear to me today." And he swore to him, and sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob then gave Esau bread and stew of lentils, and he ate and drank, and rose up and left. Thus Esau despised his birthright. That is the end of 25. So, after Sarah's death, Abraham does take another wife, but her sons don't get much of an inheritance. But he does give them things while he's alive. But as for inheritance, that all goes to Isaac. But Rebecca is barren, and they have to pray to be able to have kids, although he knows he's going to, because it's been promised, it's been foretold. But the father makes him wait for a good while. Not quite as long as his father, but he was still 60 years old before his sons were born. That's pretty old to be running around with kids, at least in this day and age. I don't know, maybe 60 was more like 30 back then. I don't know. It would be nice to have the energy of when you're 30, when you're 60. Just saying. But eventually they do have twins. Esau was the oldest, so he should have had the birthright. He should have had, all that is promised to the firstborn son. But even from when they're born, Jacob was holding on to his heel, as in to trip him up and pull him back and beat him. And that's why they named him that, because Jacob means one who takes by the heel or something like that. And the other one was red and hairy like a garment. Imagine a poor little baby just born, and you're comparing him to a garment, to a shirt. He's a hairy little shirt. Like, some babies are very red when they're born. Other than hair on your head, though, I've never heard of a baby being born with that much hair. They are covered with hairs, but I usually find little baby hairs. Maybe these weren't. I don't know. I've seen some very hairy men, but not babies. But it gives you this very animalistic or caveman-like traits to him, which ends up being kind of part of his character. He likes to hunt and be out in the land. He's, not all that civilized, so to speak. Whereas Jacob is more like regular people, lives in tents. He doesn't really hunt. He'll do farming and stuff like that. But he's not like a wild man living out in the cave by himself. But that's Esau. And we'll see some more of their relationship coming up. But even from birth, Jacob was grabbing onto his heel. And Esau didn't care about his birthright. He sold it for a bowl of soup. Pretty much. When he could have gotten his own soup. It's not like he was starving to death. He could have just made his own soup. And Jacob's a little bit conniving in this. He's made soup. His brother asked for a bowl. He said, "Sell me your birthright for a bowl of soup." Yeah, it's a little bit conniving. And Esau just doesn't care. And we'll see how that plays out. Chapter 26. And there was a scarcity of food in the land, beside the first scarcity of food, which in the days of Abraham. And Isaac and Abimelech, the sovereign of the Philistines, in Gerar. And Yahweh appeared to him and said, Do not go down to Mitzrayim. Live in the land which I command you. Sojourn in this land, and I shall be with you and bless you. For I give you all these lands to you and your seed. And I shall establish the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. And I shall increase your seed like the stars of the heavens, and I shall give all these lands to your seed. And in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Because Abraham obeyed my voice and guarded my charge, my commands, my laws, and my Torah, and Isaac dwelt in Gerar. And when the men of the place asked about his wife, he said, She is my sister. For he was afraid to say, She is my wife, thinking lest the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she is good looking. Sound familiar? And it came to be, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines, looked through a window, and he watched and saw Isaac playing with Rebekah his wife. So Abimelech called Isaac and said, See, truly she is your wife, so how could you say she is my sister? And Isaac said to him, Because I said, lest I die on account of her. And Abimelech said, What is this you have done to us? One of the people had almost lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt on us. And Abimelech commanded all his people, saying, He who touches this man or his wife shall certainly be put to death. And Isaac sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold, and Yahweh blessed him. And the man grew great and went forward until he became very great. And he came to have possessions of flocks and possessions of herds, and a great body of servants, and the Philistines envied him. And the Philistines had stopped up the wells in which his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham his father, and filled them with dirt. And Abimelech said to Isaac, Go away from us, you are much mightier than we. So Isaac went from there, and pitched his tent in the Wadi Gerar, and dwelt there. And Isaac dug again the wells of water which they had dug in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham. And he called them by the names which his father had called them. But when Isaac's servants dug in the wadi and found a well of running water there, the herdsmen of Gerar strove with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they dug another well, and they strove over that one too, and called his name Sitnah. And he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not strive over it. And he called its name Rehoboth, and said, For now Yahweh has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And from there he went up to Beersheba, and Yahweh appeared to him the same night, and said, I am the Elohim of your father Abraham. Do not fear, for I am with you, and shall bless you and increase your seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he built a slaughter place there, and called the name of Yahweh, and he pitched his tent there, and the servants of Isaac dug a well there. And Abimelech came to him from Gerar with Ahuzah, one of his friends, and Pichol, the commander of his army. And Isaac said to them, Why have you come to me, seeing you have hated me and sent me away from you? But he said, We have clearly seen that Yahweh is with you. And we said, Please let there be an oath between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you. And you do no evil to us, and we have not touched you, as we have done only good toward you, and have sent you away in peace. You are now blessed by Yahweh. And he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. They rose early in the morning and swore an oath with one another. And Isaac let them go, and they departed from him in peace. And in the same day it came to be that the servants of Isaac came and informed him about the well which they had dug, and said to him, We have found water. So he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. And when Esau was 40 years old, he took as wives Yehudith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they were a bitterness of spirit to Isaac and Rebekah. It's like, does that last little paragraph really belong with that chapter? Because it doesn't seem to. It's like totally, like, Meanwhile, back at the camp, so there's famine again. So, yeah, stock food to the rafters because it's biblical. There will be famines. Over and over again, even to God's people. Even to those who are set apart, to those who are righteous, there will be famine. So, yeah, be prepared. And it's in this book over and over again, by the way. Every so often, there's famine. Now, we haven't had so much of famine in industrialized countries because of all the different preservatives and things that, we've made like that. We have more ways to preserve food now than ever before. So it is easier to keep food stores. It's easier to keep food production. Price goes up when there's a shortage, but don't believe me? Go look in your grocery store. But it says Isaac planted seed and reaped the same year 100-fold. That's a whole lot of production. Like, damn. And that's during a famine. So probably weather related. Many of them were. Although not necessarily. It doesn't tell us what caused the famine, just that there was one. But during a famine, so conditions aren't great, the seed he plants produces 100-fold. That's a lot. That's like, wow. And that's what everybody else in the town thought. And they were jealous. They were like, well, maybe we might need him. Maybe we should make friends. Because before that, they had already kept kicking him out. He'd go a little farther out. Here, no, that well's ours. That water's ours. Okay, go a little farther out. Here, nope, that's ours. All right, a little bit farther out. And I guess they got tired of chasing him out. So he's like, all right, here we are. Here there is room for us. We stay here. But then he gets all this food during a famine. Yeah, so they come make nice with him. And, he doesn't rebuke them. He doesn't attack them. He doesn't say anything like that. He lets them go in peace, And at the end there, it switches over to Esau. Esau married non-believers. He married outside of the faith, which Abraham specifically wanted Isaac to not marry outside of the faith. And Esau does just that. Chapter 27. And it came to be, when Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see, that he called Esau, the elder son, and said to him, my son. And he answered him, here I am. And he said, see now, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, please take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt wild game for me. And make me a tasty dish, such as I love, and bring it to me to eat, in order that my being does bless you before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spoke to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt wild game and to bring it. And Rebekah spoke to Jacob, her son, saying, see, I heard your father speak to Esau your brother, saying, bring me wild game and make me a tasty dish to eat, and bless you in the presence of Yahweh before my death. And now, my son, listen to my voice according to what I command you. Please go to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, and I make a tasty dish from them for your father, such as he loves. And you shall take it to your father, and he shall eat it, so that he might bless you before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, See, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth-skinned man. What if my father touches me? Then I shall be like a deceiver in his eyes. What, only then? Only if he notices? And shall bring a curse on myself and not a blessing. But his mother said to him, Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go get them for me. And he went and fetched them and brought them to his mother, and his mother made a tasty dish, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took the best garments of her elder son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob her younger son. And she put the skins of the young goats on his hand and the smooth part of his neck. Goat skin. How hairy was Esau? Then she gave the tasty dish and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And he went to his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am. Who are you, my son? And Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you said to me. Please rise, sit and eat of my wild game, so that your being might bless me. But Isaac said to his son, How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because Yahweh your Elohim brought it to me. Then Isaac said to Jacob, Please come near, so that I feel you, my son, whether you truly are my son Esau or not. He knows. And Jacob went near Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. And he blessed him. And he said, Are you truly my son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near me, and let me eat of my son's wild game, so that my being might bless you. So he brought it near him, and he ate. And he brought with him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said to him, Please come near and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his garments, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which Yahweh has blessed. And Elohim give you of the dew of the heavens, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let peoples serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be those cursing you, and blessed be those blessing you. And it came to be, as soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had hardly left the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he too had made a tasty dish and brought it to his father, and said to his father, Let my father rise and eat of his son's wild game, so that your being might bless me. And his father Isaac said to him, Who are you? And he said, I am your son, your firstborn, Esau. Then Isaac trembled exceedingly, and said, Who was it then who hunted wild game and brought it to me? And I ate all of it before you came, and I have blessed him. Yes, he is blessed. When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceedingly great and bitter cry, and said to his father, Bless me too, O my father. And he said, Your brother came with deceit and took your blessing. And Esau said, Was his name then called Jacob? For he has caught me by the heel these 2 times. He took my birthright. Took? And see, now he has taken my blessing. And he said, Have you not reserved a blessing for me? Then Isaac answered and said to Esau, See, I have made him your master, and all his brothers I have given to him as servants. And I have sustained him with grain and wine. And what then shall I do for you, my son? And Esau said to his father, Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said to him, See, your dwelling is of the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heavens from above. And by your sword you are to live and serve your brother. And it shall be, when you grow restless, that you shall break his yoke from your neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing from which his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father draw near. Then I am going to kill my brother Jacob. And the words of Esau, her older son, were reported to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said to him, See, your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you, to kill you. And now, my son, listen to my voice, and rise, flee to my brother Laban in Haran, and stay with him a few days until your brother's wrath turns away. until your brother's displeasure turns away from you, and he forgets what you have done to him. And I shall send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved of both in one day?" And Rebekah said to Isaac, "I am disgusted with my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob takes a wife from the daughters of Heth, like these who are the daughters of the land, what is my life to me?" And again, that last little paragraph seems to go with the next chapter, but we will be reading that next week. So, not only does Jacob get Esau's birthright, but he gets Esau's blessing. Because it seems that Esau was Isaac's favorite, and Jacob was Rebekah's favorite. And Rebekah gets Jacob to deceive his father and get his brother's blessing. But this is the one, this is the chosen one, this is the set apart one. And he lies and deceives and connives because God uses broken people all the time, over and over and over again. I've said it before in an older Bible video, but the movie Dogma. It's like, and Noah was a drunk, and look what he accomplished. Yeah, all these broken people with issues and big flaws, but that's who the Father chooses, and they can still do great things. So it doesn't matter if you're broken, you can still do great things. Jacob's not doing so great so far. I mean, he got the blessing, but now his brother's planning to kill him. So he runs away. And if you notice, like, Isaac is like, he's blinded by this point. So he's got to rely on his other senses, which are probably stronger because of the loss of sight. That's usually how it goes. So he hears and it's like, that's not Esau's voice. So, let me feel your hands. You've got, feels like Esau's hands, But then still he's not trusting it because the voice is all wrong. So he's like, come here. And gets him, gets him close for an embrace there. And smells him. Literally smells him. But he's wearing Esau's clothes. So it smells like Esau. Yeah. He also had the help of his mother cooking the dish instead of Esau cooking his own dish. You figure she's been cooking for Isaac for, 40 years? Something like that. Like, she knows how to cook for the man. If she has any cooking skills at all. She knows what he likes. She knows how to make it well. Probably better than Esau does. But, yeah, Jacob doesn't have to work for this blessing as much as Esau even needed to get the blessing. He doesn't work for it. Like, how do you deserve it when you're not working for it? But, like I said, the older would serve the younger. From before they were even born. So that's the way it was supposed to happen. That's all I've got for today. So, have a wonderful day. I hope you've read along. I hope you join us again. Thanks for watching. May the Father bless you all. Shalom.